Hey there. Welcome back to these conversations with no one, where I attempt to share my experience living in a state of non-identification with my character and duality. This is conversation 3, in which I tell the stories of my character, how he got here, and how he's doing these days. And in this one, looking back at how I used to be interested in conspiracy theories and the unknown. Uh, so I was recently reminded that throughout my life I've been fascinated with conspiracy theories, especially when I was a kid, probably starting in my late tweens, early teens. My introduction was with fascination with UFOs. That's what got me started. Followed closely by cryptids such as Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster, etc. Followed closely by all things paranormal. The younger me really wanted there to be magic in the world, like in all the sci-fi fantasy novels I read. And I eventually grew out of my obsession over all that, but I don't think I ever really stopped believing well into my adult life. Later on, even ideas like the moon landing was fake or 9/11 was a false flag operation were way more interesting than simple reality. And part of this was because I wanted to live in a magical world, but another part was driven by wanting certain uncomfortable realities to make some sort of sense. I think that's something, it's a deep driving force behind a lot of these beliefs and conspiracy theories. I mean, if there really was such a thing as the Illuminati or ancient aliens, well, that would mean that someone somewhere was in some sort of control. There was some sort of plan. The idea that no one is in control of anything is a little too terrifying for most people. Luckily, none of my beliefs were inspired by fear. There was never fear of others or a sense of danger in the unknown. And so I think that's what helped me escape becoming a true believer, heading down the more dangerous and damaging rabbit holes. I guess I somehow naturally accepted those who were different from me as valid human beings living valid lifestyles. And that's probably because I never really fit in with the mainstream, even as a kid. By my late teens, I was well into alternative music and culture, and my biggest prejudice was against so-called normal people living what I saw as bland, cookie-cutter lives. And I held a lot of those beliefs well into adulthood. Well, at least I considered all of the theories as possible. I'm not even sure when my perception of these things changed. I think it was some point before my paradigm shift. My beliefs started to shift in general to sort of there are definitely weird and unexplainable things about reality point of view, coupled with who knows exactly what these things are, and let's not commit to anything specific or any specific ideas about what those things are. And though these thoughts have significantly changed in what they mean to me now, I don't think they ever really went away, even after my shift. One major realization that changed my understanding was that incompetence, ignorance, and self-interest are all far more common an explanation for things out there than intelligent, coordinated, and premeditated, especially when it comes to things that we consider to be evil. When my paradigm shift revealed my own capacity to lie to myself on a fundamental level, and I could suddenly see clearly the harm I'd inflicted on others while believing, in my point of view, my perspective, believing I was the good guy. It seemed obvious to me afterwards that most people have no idea what they're doing. Simple as that. I used to see all relationship conflicts between people as a good person being treated poorly by a bad person. There was always a villain in every domestic argument situation. And that villain usually understood exactly what they were doing and was doing it on purpose. And life is a lot easier when things are that simple, especially if we always cast ourselves into the role of the good guy. Acknowledging the complicated and problematic truth of these situations would be to confront our own messed up psyches, and well, we can't have that now, can we? After my shift, I came to understand that all of this as games we play and scripts we follow. We create good guys and bad guys, give names and identities to things that are unknown, and interpret material reality based on our beliefs, or find beliefs that fit what we want to believe. We want to find patterns and project human motives and actions on everything from animals to aliens. Somewhere along the line, all of my desire to see magic in the world disappeared, replaced by a sort of wonder for the magic of everything we actually do experience. And the beauty of being everything is much more compelling than whatever ways the material reality might manifest. Sort of like for me, the process of creating a movie or building a video game is vastly more magical and interesting to me than the actual finished product. Now that I accept that I can't imagine how reality or my experience of it actually works, I've stopped inventing ways to believe that I do. I still feel any and all possibilities are equally possible, since none of it actually exists. But because of that, there's no longer a line in the sand between material reality and perception. A person living through extreme anxiety and depression brought on by psychological delusions suffers the same reality as someone who's suffered actual physical or emotional trauma. Is a person experiencing enlightenment through psychedelics just tripping on the physical effects of drugs in their body, or are they actually opening themselves up to a different level of experiencing reality? But more importantly, why would these two things need to be mutually exclusive. Ultimately, we create our own reality and our experience of it. I loved creating a reality of magic and mystery that I could participate in. And I'm grateful that I had that time. But just like love, once I stopped chasing it, there turned out to be more than I'd ever imagined. The only conspiracy theory that rings true to me at all now is that of duality itself, and the perceptions of our ego, and how our ego appears to conspire against us to manipulate our behavior. We seem to have a deep fear as a species of being controlled, and that fear, I think, manifests in some very polarizing beliefs and thoughts, and down to outright fantasies. It seems to me that that's because somewhere deep inside we know we're being held hostage, but don't realize or can't accept that it's our own minds that are the cause. And of course, that in itself is just another story. So thanks for listening, hanging out with me here on another beautiful spot. I look forward to talking again soon. Take care.